So today we are going to Zealandia.
We are growing up without borders, a family of 5 traveling to every country in the world. It all began with a 5-week trip to Europe back in 2013, which then led to us traveling to now 6 continents and 98 countries. We've been blessed to spend many months here in New Zealand and explored everything from the very top to the very bottom. Are you ready to join the journey? Let's go. We'd like to invite you to come along with us today as we discover Zealandia, the world's first fully fenced urban eco-sanctuary with a 500-year vision to connect people with nature and help native wildlife flourish in Wellington and beyond. If you can imagine, it's a 225-hectare eco-sanctuary that protects over 40 rare native wildlife species.
If you didn't know, back then, millions and millions of years ago, New Zealand was actually on the continent of Zealandia before it all went undersea. Now there's just New Zealand. And before there was like nothing here, just birds and reptiles. No mammals, no nothing.
So we're starting the tour with a little movie. This here is the whole area where you can come learn about all the different birds before you go out into the sanctuary.
So this is a giant Moa bird, and they existed, if you can imagine, only 1,000 years ago. They still had these big, huge birds, if you can imagine. If you've ever watched the movie Up, they had these giant birds just like here, and they were trying to protect the bird, and it looks kind of like this bird. And they came extinct because Maoris
Hunted them
down and ate them.
I think they were here only 100 years ago. So when James Cook and those guys arrived, I think they spotted these big, huge birds.
These big, huge birds.
Imagine how much meat, though, they would have been able to get off that. That's why they hunted them.
Ready? This is the sound of them. And also that bird up there disappeared.
Because that's what they used to eat, and now that giant seagull has disappeared.
So first things first, when you come in, you have to make sure you have no exotic seeds, weeds, small animals, which means even your kittens have to stay home, and any other thing that might threaten the bird life inside.
Yes. Okay, now
these are like
has to come inside.
These are like bank doors.
Shut the gate.
The door must be shut.
And then you can go to the next.
Remember being in a bank and it's like that too?
No.
Yeah, you only can go through one door at a time. So Zealandia is about 500 acres big. It's a whole protected area, so no mammals can get in, and all the birds are all protected.
And that little lake we were just looking at. The second dam up here.
Yeah.
And here's our fence line.
Holy, it's massive.
They had to build a fence that no cats could jump over, no Nori rats could crawl under, and no mouse could squeeze through, and of course, no possums could climb up. So they got this fence made just for them.
Are you aware of, if you are out in the forest, we often call it bush lawyer, but feel the spikes on the underneath side of that.
Oh wow, like a rose.
Yeah. At one point the water would have been up to the top of that dam.
Wow.
So up there, we just, in that tree, there's like this new sprout, I guess, growing, and it's like circular. So they call that a Koru, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, means like new life.
And it comes from the fern trees. So in certain countries like Canada, we call that a fiddlehead.
Yes.
And what's interesting is they use that symbol in many of their tattoos,
Yep.
carvings.
Air New Zealand uses it in their logo.
Yeah, and they even have something when you're at the airport called the Karu Club, which is like their lounge. So something new we just learned today.
So there's over 30 kilometers of walking you can do in here. That's how big it is.
Wow.
So just rub the leaf really hard and see if you can smell the citrusy smell on that.
Smell your fingers.
Smell your fingers. Smell nice?
It smells like an orange or something.
Yeah.
So their next big project is to restore the lake, because the lake has some fish and such that are basically not native here. So they're going to restore the lake so that the birds would like to eat from here. Look at these birds over in the distance. Oh, they're so cute.
This is an extremely poisonous plant in the forest. It's really poisonous for mammals.
Tutu.
You can see that it's got some old sort of flowering berry heads just up here. It contains a neurotoxin, which means that it will affect your nerves. And there's a really interesting story about how there was a circus elephant at one stage, and the big truck transporting it broke down. They let the elephant out on the side of the road. It ate a bit of tutu and died very quickly. So, you know, like, it can fell an elephant.
Holy.
What's it going to do to people?
So one thing we just learned, which is actually crazy, is all the New Zealand honey needs to be tested before people eat it. Because if the bees go and take the pollen from those tutu trees, they could contain the poisonous toxin inside the honey. That's crazy, and it's indigenous to this country as well.
Do you know the fuchsia? Yes. Yeah. So these trees here, this is a New Zealand native tree fuchsia. These are the largest fuchsias in the world, apparently.
What's cool about this, well, it's not a, it's like a leaf from the bigger tree, is basically they would put it this way and they'd put it on the ground, the Maorin people, and it basically reflect the moonlight, so they'd get some light. And they also use it on all their sports, their Olympic games, and
It's the symbol.
very important.
It is Rangiora. So it's got a Maori name, it's called Rangiora. But we have another name for it. Can you think of what it might be useful for if you're out walking in the forest?
Yeah.
Toilet
Toilet paper, indeed. Bushman's toilet paper. Do you reckon it would be okay? If you had to?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just give you
What do you think of the tourists who go far, girls?
It's really cool. It's very interesting.
time. All of that bank there will be lit up with little pinpricks of bluey white light that we call glowworms.
Can you imagine, girls, if you saw a bunch of glowworms?
Yeah.
There they are. You can see right there those little stringy droplets. They light up at night, and the insects get stuck on them, and then they like get sucked up and eaten.
Wow, look at them. So
We'll just
pretty.
stay here so that we're not. Whoa! That's cute. It came so close to you. It's coming down ever so slowly.
Here's a small one of these fuchsias. See the little flowers on it.
They actually have a really cool suspension bridge right through the sanctuary.
Love looking down on on this big mamaku here, this big tree fern.
Wow. See a fern?
What?
See a big tree fern?
Big tree fern down here. You see how high we are?
Beautiful.
That one's so different.
Oh yeah, I see them. There's 2 Takahēs over there, the only 2, and they just had also a baby.
Here's a crazy, weird fact about these birds. They poop 6 to 7 meters of poop, if you can imagine, and they eat for 16 hours a day.
So every single day they poop that much.
That's all they do. Eat and go to the bathroom. Simple life.
Little did we know that we would be adopting a duck just like this. Stay tuned so you can see who Bobina the duck is in our Rotorua videos.
So we found this really cool lookout point where we're going to see all of Wellington, and it starts with this little trail. So here we go. It's like a jungle. Holy. The girls didn't want to come, and I have no idea if they're following behind or not.
So while my parents have gone up this little hill, us girls have stayed by the park and we're just having some fun. How are you guys enjoying it? It's fun. You guys having fun?
Well, that was a bit of a flop because there's actually no view. I'm gonna pop the drone up and see if we can get a viewpoint from the top with the drone. Here we go. So there is an area where the tourists can come, or locals I guess. They have all these like little beautiful picnic tables, and well, there's not, oh, there is a viewpoint over there. I was like, oh, there's still not a viewpoint, but there is. Let me go show you. This is the viewpoint to come and see the whole city of Wellington. Oh, cool. Here we go. Honest to God, guys, I think probably 90% of the people who live here locally have somewhat of a view, because if you can see, every single little piece of land is either on a hill or has some curvature, and they're all built up like that. And so everyone probably has this most spectacular view. And their roads are crazy, so they're narrow little roads as you're driving up all the roads, and then it's often just a 1-lane road, so you're like squeezing, and it's just pretty crazy. It's a good thing they don't have any snow here, because I don't know how they would get up and down. Thanks so much for watching our fun tour through Zealandia. Make sure you subscribe and don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for our next video in Wellington. Bye!